Welcome to the Sacred Feminine Power podcast, where we explore the many facets of feminine power and why it is so important for women and for men to step into this power in our world at this time. This is Emmi from Feminine Revered, and my magical guest for today is Afua Tiah. Afua is a wellness educator and spiritual healer dedicated to providing practical tools for health, vitality, and spiritual ascension. She started using energy therapy for self-healing and for healing others 15 years ago. Now she facilitates treatments and workshops both online and at her home wellness center in Melfort, Saskatchewan, Canada. Afua's signature treatment is DNA activation. DNA activation and her courses all have a central theme of connecting women and men with their divine self, their intuition, and honing their powers of conscious creation. She lives on an acreage with her husband and 3 daughters, aged 14, 12, and 2.5. And on a more personal note, I got to know Afua about 15 years ago, actually, when we were both living on the beautiful, magical island of Zanzibar. And Afua, I was always drawn to your very pure, beautiful, authentic energy. So I'm super happy to have you on this podcast today and want to welcome you, Afua, to this talk.
Thank you, Emmi. Yeah, I loved meeting you way back then, and I appreciate you inviting me to this podcast.
Oh, absolutely. It's a blessing to have you with us. Now, let's jump straight in, Afua. Since my podcast is called Sacred Feminine Power, I always like to ask my guests, what does sacred feminine power mean to you personally?
Well, sacred feminine power, and I've been thinking about it since you asked me to participate in this podcast. It means so many different things. And I think to me, on a personal level, it means aligning with one's divine self. And when I say divine self, I mean that part of us that is so close to creator or spirit. It's that part of us that has all those magical qualities of spirit, that unconditional love, infinite possibilities, all that magic. And when we align with our divine selves, we can access those qualities. And I think for myself and in other women as well, that we come into our sacred feminine power when we allow ourselves to switch and change and move with the moment. Like, life is so grand and life can take us on many adventures. So at any given moment, we may be called to embody a different part of our divine self or our sacred feminine power. And one thing that kind of stands out to me is that idea of that trinity of the creator, the maintainer, and the destroyer. And I feel like, yeah, we have all these parts of ourselves, and sometimes we need to move into different parts to keep our lives in balance, to keep ourselves in balance. So that creator part being, yeah, we're creating ideas or creating babies or projects. That's like that spark of life and just wonder and openness. And the maintainer part, that's, yeah, just got to live life. We got to enjoy life. We can't be always creating more things or we're going to get too overwhelmed all the time. And just being in the present moment, not worrying about the future or worrying about the past. And the destroyer part too is being able to let go. That part of us that we also need to have balance to be able to let go of our expectations sometimes, let go of our beliefs that are no longer serving us, or letting go of even physical things or relationships or whatever it is. There's always that aspect that we need to have each of these parts in balance to keep in the flow and so that we can really be in our power and enjoying life to the fullest. So that's kind of what comes to me when I've been thinking about sacred feminine power.
I love how you brought in the concept of the Trinity and the creator and maintainer and destroyer energies. That's a really beautiful way of thinking about it. So thank you for bringing that in.
Yeah. It's I just feel like even for me lately, I've been in the maintainer mode, and the thing is, a person might mean you need to switch even throughout the day, right? Throughout the day, you might be switching back and forth. But these days, I've been able to be in a maintainer space, not always creating and creating a new project. It's like it's just time for me to just be enjoying life right now, and looking after my kids and looking after myself, and yeah, but other times it's what do I need to let go of, and that also feels really clearing and and really relieving too, when I can see that, oh, maybe I've been holding on to some expectations of how I want things to go, or controlling my life too much. It's like, oh, this is when I need to let go, and when I do that, I feel so much better.
And I can really see those three notions existing at the same time as well, and us balancing them depending on what is going on in our lives and what is going on around us. That's a really nice concept to be working with, and to keep yourself aligned moment to moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now, Afia, could you please share a challenge that you have faced in your life that has really helped you to activate the sacred feminine power, and perhaps a deeper understanding of the concept of the Trinity as well within you and in your life?
Okay. Well, I would say that an experience that stands out in my life that really caused me to activate my sacred feminine power was about, I think it's 7 years ago now, that I left a very toxic relationship. I didn't really realize how bad it was until I left, but just to kind of give a little background of that, was about 15 years ago. Actually, yeah. It was, I think we must have met maybe about 14 years ago, I think it was.
Probably, yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I started kind of on my healing journey. Like, I started to do energy work, and I was really called to do, it was not Reiki, therapeutic touch and pranic healing at the time. And I was just amazed at how you could get results by, doing something that required nothing, where the energy is always around us, and it required almost nothing. It just required a few skills in order to heal myself or heal other people. So, I was really drawn into that. But then a year or so later, I ended up having a very traumatic experience, like the most traumatic of my life. I was very violent and sudden, out of the blue, and it just changed my whole mind. I was very innocent before that, and after that, it was like, wow, I've seen the horrors of the world. And so the good thing was I had before that started to see how we are creating our own reality. And so I had hope that I could heal myself completely. And so that experience motivated me to keep going on this healing path and learning different stuff with breathing and yoga, or walking over hot coals, or different types of experiences to heal my mind, really, and heal my spirit and heart. So I was kind of on that journey, but at the same time, I was in this relationship who we both had a similar, he also wanted to do healing work as well, but what I didn't realize is that I was letting my power go to him so much, so that I wasn't living my authentic life. So I was listening to my intuition in so many ways. I was doing so many things that were right, but I wasn't listening to my one intuition that was telling me that I needed to leave. And so I think that was the moment when I harnessed my sacred feminine power. Was I woke up. I woke up and realized, holy God, what is happening here? And I've just been ignoring this major voice in myself telling me that I need to leave. And so I did. And at that point, I had to, use the wisdom to be patient and use my intelligence to be calm and not let things escalate, so that I could leave in a unscathed, because there was some fear there. And I had to use that destructive nature to let go, because I had an idea of my life at that point and how I expected life. I was still trying to work on these projects that were going nowhere with this person. I was trying to create these things and it was going nowhere. So I had to let go of those ideas that, you know what, it's time to start fresh. So, and also I needed to trust, just trust in myself that, hey, I'm worth more than this, than what I'm doing here. And I had to raise myself up in confidence and go. So basically before that, my life, it was pretty good. I learned so many different skills of healing and wellness and meditation, but my life at the same time was kind of idling. I wasn't going to the next level. So after that is when my life really picked up into high gear, and then I was able to go into a creative space that was actually real, because I was able to create so much for myself following letting all of that go. So that's a kind of a big challenge in my life that stands out, where that sacred feminine, that fire had to come into me to say, I'm enough, I'm more than what I have let myself become, and it's time to say no and trust that life will take care of me. And my daughter at the time too, I took her with me, and we went. So yeah, that was my challenge, I think. One of them.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing so openly and vulnerably about that. And certainly takes a lot of courage to leave a toxic relationship, because there, I would imagine, is quite a large codependency factor in there as well.
Yeah, and the thing was, I didn't even realize how bad it was. But luckily, my sister was also, I had seen my sister a little while before, and she, because I had isolated myself from my sisters too. I didn't have sisters around me. And coming again, that sacred feminine, and my mother too, I have to say, helped to remind me. And it was shortly after that, I remember listening to something about the empath narcissist relationship, and I realized, oh my God, this was so textbook narcissist empath, where I was just trying to be everything for a person who wasn't willing to take responsibility for themselves. So
yeah, absolutely. Now, you've already started to open this up a little bit, but would you please mind expanding on what you feel was the hidden blessing in that challenge, in that toxic relationship, that you're able to really see now that you're on the other side of it?
Yeah, well, I mean, basically everything. that was the best move I've ever made. And since then, yeah, it's just allowed my life to open up. And yeah, synchronicities. I think because before I was blocking a part of my intuition, and our intuition is a part of our divine self trying to talk to ourselves. That's that communication factor. So it's like I was picking and choosing what I was listening to. But once I decided to listen to this big thing, all of a sudden life opened up. Like I needed a place to live, and my aunt gave me and my daughter a place to live because we had no money to our name, and we were coming to a different country. Like we were living in East Africa where I met you, and we came to Canada where I'm from originally. And so we needed a place to stay, but we had no money. So we got a place to live, and I thought, okay, here you need a vehicle to drive. You know, Canada is not the best with public transportation. So I needed a vehicle, and I was thinking about how I could get a loan. And next thing you know, my dad says, oh, well, I never gave you a car when you're 16. So here's a car. And I needed a job. And again, the best possible jobs I could possibly get manifested with really good people, and also gave me the freedom to keep my healing practice going. So synchronicity after synchronicity happened. Like then I met somebody and a few other women who were interested in starting a wellness center. So we did that, and I learned so much from that. And, you know, a few years later, I met my husband, and we've been married for like about 3 years now, and we've got a little girl of our own, and we just have a wonderful home and a wonderful family. And we support, like he supports me like 100% with my work. And it's just like, now I can ask for what I can ask for what I need. You know, it's like we might have in our hearts what it is that we know we need, but we actually have to express it. And now I'm in a place I can express what I need, and it's you know, given. We need to speak out and communicate to ourselves, to others, to spirit, and then that life can come to us. So I feel like now I'm living so much more my truth. I can say no, like this is not okay for me, like in relationships or in whatever, in my business, or and also with my healing, my personal healing from that incident way back 15 years ago. There was a lot of PTSD stuff, and I've made major breakthroughs in that, and that wasn't able to until I could heal that part of my life. So yeah, just so many so many things is when it's like I can say without a doubt that when we, you know, stand up for what is true, even if we don't know what is going to come after that, when we take care of the moment and like, this is what I need right now, we're being in our truth, and then everything just opened up from there. So yeah.
Beautiful. It sounds like you were very consciously creating your new life on many levels.
Well, yeah, because before that I had known different conscious creation techniques. Like I knew this, but I wasn't aligned truly with myself, and so therefore I wasn't able to get the results. And so it's like as I healed that, and I said that toxic relationship, that's not for me, like I'm done with that, it's all of a sudden now I was able to actually let my energy out, where before it kept being thwarted, and I wasn't being right, because our truth is to be honored and to be respected, and having these wonderful relationships that are reciprocating love. And I think when we, you know, honor ourselves enough to I don't want to say demand it, but, you know, to realize that we deserve it and say, stand up and say, I deserve this, then the universe also kind of responds in kind, like kind, you know?
Absolutely. And I have seen many amazing magical manifestations in my own life as well, and can really resonate with what you're saying. Now, Afia, I would love to hear a little bit more about your legacy program, the DNA activation. Could you please expand on that for us?
Okay, yeah. DNA activation is, I focus primarily now on that treatment because it's so awesome. I love it. And basically it is all about aligning with our divine self. So as you know, and probably a lot of people who are listening know, is, you know, we get programmed with different beliefs about ourselves, beliefs about life that are not true, that are not aligned with truth. And so this creates dysfunction in our energy field. And so with divine self activation, without going into too many technical details, DNA activation, I kind of use the terms interchangeably because I do a meditation online that I call divine self activation, where we do DNA activation. And so it's all about channeling the energies of our divine self. So that part of ourselves that is so connected to the creator and has all those magical qualities. And we channel it in with focus and direction to heal and restore our energy field. So all of our chakras, all different parts of our energetic anatomy. And so it results in effects physically, because what is going on in our energetic body reflects out in what's going on physically for us with our health, mentally, and also with what is going on in our life in general. So people who come to me to do DNA activation, we work with pretty much anything. It could be physical health problems, like maybe some illnesses that are going on, and getting to the root cause of that. Another part that I should just add in before going there is that throughout the treatment, I also just kind of tune into the energy field, and if there's any guidance that the person's field is saying, then I just express that to the person so that they can say, okay, does that resonate with me or not? Because that can be some guidance on how to, after the session, continue to heal their body or heal their life. So yeah, people could work with physical healing, relationships. Like I've seen people and they've come to me for treatments, and maybe they're having a problem at work, for example, like a majorly toxic person at work, and they don't know, but it's really causing a lot of anxiety. But just through them changing themselves, having some type of manifestation, like all of a sudden this person got transferred, or they're working somewhere else, so that they don't have to deal with that. You know, it's amazing how when we shift something in ourselves, the universe just responds, because we're no longer attracting that in. So it could be relationship stuff, financial, like business. Sometimes people come to me and they're like feeling maybe lost or uncertain of what path they can take. And so DNA activation really helps people to get more in tune with their intuition. And a lot of times, yeah, the thing is, we all know what our intuition is. It's always right there. It's just maybe there's a few little layers that are kind of blocking us from being able to really listen. And also people, once their body, and once our bodies, I keep continuing to work on my own of course, when our energetic body is working right. So when we've activated our DNA, and we need to keep activating our DNA, keep getting downloads from our divine self. It's like now our bodies are working right, and so we can our manifestation abilities increase majorly, because we're more in communication with the with spirit and with the universe. So that's another amazing result that people get, is just being able to consciously manifest and have things come to fruition a lot faster when we clear out blockages and restore the body.
Absolutely, that sounds wonderful. And if our listeners wanted to experience something like this, Afia, how would they find you?
Okay. My website is renewedspirit.ca. And then I think you have, I've given you a link to a free gift for the listeners, and that is on my website. So you'll be able to access from there. That's kind of like a hidden page, and you'll be able to go to the website from there and see about DNA activation and how to book with me.
Beautiful. And what is your free gift, Afia?
My free gift is a divine self-activation. So I recorded when the whole COVID-19 thing and everybody was isolated. I just thought, okay, how can I be of service? Because there was a lot of panic almost, and a lot of anxiety and all kinds of stresses happening, right? And so I just offered a free meditation that was going on weekly for, I think, 6 weeks or so. And so I've just chosen one of my favorites and put it on there so that people can access it and listen to it again and again.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for offering that to all of us. Is there anything else, any other advice or guidance you would like to offer to our listeners before we close?
Okay. Well, I guess what I always say to my clients after working with them is, drink lots of water and listen to your intuition, listen to your dreams. Pay attention to that little voice that is always talking to us, and our intuition. Sometimes people say, how do I tell what's the difference between my intuition and my ego or some other part of me? And, our intuition is that constant voice. It doesn't just change. Like, even if it has good ideas, it's not like, oh, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. No, it's saying something constant. Like, it's giving you a very clear signal. And when you still tune into it and you say, okay, I think this is what it is, then you need to feel into your heart, feel into your body, and tune in. How do you feel? If you feel expansive when you're hearing that voice, that means that's your intuition. If you're feeling calm and expansive, that is pretty much a signature of your intuition. So that's I guess what I have to say. Yeah, just everybody shine your light, and more love. Focusing on love gets us more love. And yeah, I could go on, but I guess I'll just stick with that for now.
No, that's beautiful. Those are very, very important elements of creating a life that we truly enjoy, that you have been describing for us. So thank you so much for all of your wisdom. And we are so blessed to have had you with us here today.
Oh, thank you, Emmi, so much for having me on here.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Now, everybody, just for a moment, let's focus our intention and our awareness on the beautiful energy that's been activated on today's call. And just for a moment, imagine sending that energy to everybody, everywhere on our planet, to remember that we truly are all one. Thank you for being here and thank you for listening.